All right, welcome to our weekly New Gambia platform talk show. Today is May 21st, 2023. Today is a special day because the election, the mayoral and chairmanship election yesterday, the results were just out, and we want to discuss in details how everything unfolds. What are the areas to look at and analyze? What does this mean to our democracy and our country? And the candidates who won the election, how did they win? So we're gonna look in all these areas in a different viewpoints, and we have our guest here, Bakari Sonko. He is the founder of He's the founder and the national program coordinator, Peace Hub Gambia, and he also would be analyzing the election. And yeah, thanks for joining. And I have Sam, my co-host, also, who is here joining today in the discussion. Welcome on board, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
we
very
also
much.
have Famara, my another co-host in Maryland. Famara, thanks for joining. So I think this will be a great discussion today because history has been made again.
Thank you, Sawane.
Thank you. So, Mr. Sonko, we're just gonna go right into this since you are our guest today. We wanna see how this election unfold because there were a lot of things happening. At the last minute, I couldn't even have a sleep because people were calling me and they worried about the outcome of this election, whether it will be peaceful or not.
Yes, thank you very much. Greetings to everyone, especially to the wonderful viewers. And I am deeply honored to be invited on this platform to share my perspective on the elections and also our what does it mean for our democracy. It will be interesting to know that we have finally completed or ended the 2021 to 2023 electoral cycle from the presidential, the National Assembly, and the local government elections, respectively. And what has happened? What are some of the lessons to learn from 2021 to yesterday's elections, and how is that going to shape our democratic the democratic spectrum, and what are some of the lessons to be learned by both the opposition and also the ruling party as well? And yeah, it was like a very highly contested election across the country from Banjul to the last village in the Gambia. And I'm glad that Gambians really took hold of this election, and they've attached so much importance to the local government election. And if you look at it, there has been an improvement in the voter turnout in these elections than even the councilorship elections. For example, in Banjul, we have about 71% voter turnout, and which is quite not what is expected, but it could have been better. But it was way better than the councilorship election. Now coming to our yesterday's election and what it means for me, I was like, while the results were coming in, I was seeing more of like a preparation towards the 2026 general election, especially the 2026 presidential election, and what it means. And one of the lessons that I've learned from yesterday's election is that a lot of Gambians are now waking up to the fact that politics, it's about policies, it's about programs, it's about what you can do for the people. Politics is about more or less like beyond money, beyond the political preparation. What politics has to do with policies and programs, and that people everyone needs to sell their agenda to the people. And history also matters in politics, because yesterday's election, I've seen people vote based on on the history of a particular candidate, what they were able to do. For example, in KM, a lot of people voted Talib because they believe that he started something, and then they believe that Talib was should be given another chance. Even those who are not even UDP supporters, I'm quite surprised. I see a lot of people that supported Talib, they are not UDP. And in fact, they voted against UDP, but it was more or less like they wanted Talib to continue. And I'm glad that a lot of Gambians are now voting based on based on competence, based on what they think is right, and not based on party lines. And I think this is a good call, and I think also it's important that the work that civil society is doing in raising awareness, in supporting the participation of people, especially young people in politics, is actually paying dividend. Even though more work needs to be done in ensuring that we're able to dismantle the idea of partisanship and also look at the common good of everyone.
Excellent, excellent. Wow, that's impressive. You mentioned one thing here before we go any further. You said that Gambians are beginning to see that voters buyout is not the solution. They're looking into policies. What caused that to happen now? I mean, because in the past that was not the case, and we thought that we're never gonna get there. What has changed?
I think when you look at from the change of government in 2016, when Gambians decided to vote against Jammeh to bring in President Barrow and more or less like focus on what the new Gambia, the true identity of new Gambia, based on the hope that we are able to get our institutions ready to deliver service for the people. And we are not only going to get that Gambia where you only have to survive simply because you are part of a particular political party. All those were aspirations of the Gambian people in 2017 when this new change came. However, based on a popular idea that a lot of people felt like, based on surveys and surveys that have been carried out by different research groups on what they think about, a lot of people felt like their aspirations and what they thought of was going to happen in 2017 did not come through. And also, it also happened that a lot of issues were coming up, and Gambians in 2021 were also given another opportunity to make things right for them if they believe that President Barrow was not the guy for the job. And I'm glad that President Barrow won when he came into office, that his first 1 year after being re-elected. A lot of people felt like a lot of things did not change. I'm not actually speaking to against President Barrow. Let me make that. But I'm trying to put on hold what exactly it's happening. So the fact that a lot of people are saying that the incumbent, or should I say the current government, is actually supporting their candidates, and they're more or less like waiting for ensuring that they support the party politics. And then a lot of Gambians, especially in Banjul, everything started in Banjul, because Banjul, the accusation that vote buying by vote two contending parties were more or less like starving to or creating the opportunity for people to take part in the electoral process by actually inducing them. But however, we've seen the change that even if that happens, but it did not pay dividend. That we've seen government people choosing candidates based on the fact that they believe these people are going to do something, instead of choosing voting in candidates because they belong to a particular political party. Coming to the question, why that is changing. Gambians are, I would say that the idea of politics is for the lives and livelihood of the people to change. And if they are not seeing that, obviously, and the campaign has always been, if you sell your vote, the amount that they are going to give you will not be able to sustain you for the next round of election that is going to come. And if that happens, that you are the one that is going to suffer. So it's important that governments are able to wake up to the call that, you know what, we are not going to sell our votes and we are going to make the right decision. And that is exactly what happened, both at the National Assembly election, at the local government election, and also yesterday's election. We've seen people where everyone remained quiet and everyone did what they were supposed to do by voting in, not based on party line. Because yes, if you ask me, a lot of Gambians did not vote based on party lines. It is there. More work needs to be done. But I also believe that if it was going to be based on party lines and based on other um, issues that are actually highlighted as more of the drivers of politics in our country, I definitely think that those dynamics have changed from yesterday's election.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So before I let my co-host come in. You mentioned that this is happening now, but why are people not voting also the same way when it comes to presidential election? Instead of voting on party lines, they do that also based on who is up on the task to do the work, because everybody is questioning Barrow's ability to do this job, and you have other people, candidates, and contesting with him. Why can they also make that switch?
Yeah, for I think it's really I might not be in the position to say that President Barrow actually he's voted in by the people, and based on democracy and our own electoral process is that that the winner takes all, that absolute majority, he who takes but if you look at it, that is going to change in the years to come. It's a process, and we must not also lose sight of the fact that we are a young democracy. This electoral cycle is our first electoral cycle after Jamel left. So there are still room for improvement, and there is still room for a lot of education, civic education on what is democracy and how do we nurture democracy as a country, and not necessarily making it happen. It's a process, and I believe that the way things are going right now, especially from the local government, the National Assembly elections last year to this year's local government election, I believe that in the years to come, things are going to change, and especially in the 2026 election, I bet the way the trend the political spectrum is, I want to believe that a lot of things will change, depending on the political actors.
So in other words, this change started now. We started to feel it now, not like last a year ago.
Very well. A lot of things have changed. and yes, this is I actually like the balance in our governance system now. Now, I think it will give an opportunity to both the ruling party and the opposition to prove who is the guy, because there is a balance in local governance, there is a balance at the level of the parliament, and now it's more like it's a match. Everyone has your 11. Now we see who proves worthy of the order. Not necessarily in a system where the ruling party actually controls everything. It has to do with if, for example, politicians don't always say let's work together. Now it's an opportunity to prove that if they can really work together. The balance that we have in local governance at the local level, and also even at the parliament, and now central government having to. For me, I believe if you want to change a country, there should be a balance in power. That government should not be given everything, and the opposition also should also have, so that they can also now taste put to task what exactly they have been advocating for.
Right. So before I let Sam come in and then Famara, one more thing that I want to just stress out. There was a fear that was developed in people's mind in the last minute of this campaign at Serekunda, Igbo Town, I believe, when the president said, "I'll come on Sila, Alta Boisolali Atayal Sang, Ali hang out the whole night, and at least brutal guard and then so forth. IGP is here, police commissioner is here, IEC is here. Everybody went within that 24 hours insane, thinking that this election is done. They had it by any means necessary. What is your take on that? Because I got a lot of calls, regarding that, and it was a really concern on the voters.
I think for me that's an afterthought, and I believe that that we have a lot of issues to deal with as a country, and our priorities should have focused more on how do we address some of the challenges that our people are facing. And for the president, who doubles as the commander-in-chief, to start, one of the theories of conflict, we would say that you at the heart of politics, it's power, and power is one of the causal effect of conflict. So if you ask me that the president making such statement, it should be condemned by every Gambian. It should be condemned by each and every genuine citizen. But the president cannot start in a rally where in a highly contested election, in a highly volatile or highly with all the tension happening around, to make such statement. Whatever happened there, he is the one responsible. Now I believe that he is today, irrespective of your opinions about the president, irrespective of everyone what they think about, he is the president. And today, nothing is going to happen in this country without him knowing. And whatever is going to happen, people are going to look up to him. And I think these are responsibilities that the president of the republic should actually look at. He said that I own up to this responsibility. Owning up to your responsibilities, it's beyond politics. You are there. It's important to do politics. It's important to sell your agenda. But selling agenda based on how other people think, it's definitely not an issue. It's an issue that is worth looking at. And for the president to say such statement, it should be condemned. It's not a good statement. It's not representing the values of being a leader. It's not representing the wishes and aspirations of the Gambian people at the time they were bringing him. I think the president needs to be reminded that aside being a party leader, he is a president for every Gambian. And aside being a very I don't want to say that the statement, he could have done better with this statement.
Okay, thank God. But thank God nothing came out of it, and people still went and vote, and nobody was stopped. So thank you for that. So I will allow my Sam to come in, and then
I think there were a few skirmishes that happened, but thank God that a major interaction did not so the confrontation did not happen, even though in Banjul something like that happened, but a major interaction did so I say confrontation did not happen. That would lead to people doing whatever. But I believe that our the political space should be protected with from hate speech. It should be protected from all sort of things that might hinder or ludicate our political space, because it's not gonna tell well that you accuse a particular group of being violent, and on the other hand, you're the one championing that kind of violence in a very open manner.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So yeah, Sam, you can come in if you have to ask questions, comments, and Favara, and then of course Yaya is also online.
Yep, he dropped off, but I really just want to add to the fact that he said people have changed or things are changing, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. I think the reason why things are changing, you know.
Sam, you're not so audible, please. You're not very audible from my side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you coming in and out. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening. I'm connected correctly, and
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
okay,
Let's see.
okay. All right, so I'll get closer and get speak also a little louder, maybe. But anyway, from my perspective, you know, I think things change. Things are going to continue to change because of civic education. Civic education is going around from this platform to every platform that is educating people about the leaders. You know, I personally have released a lot of audios about leadership, and I keep telling people, don't look at who these people are. Look at who is going to be a great leader and vote for that person based on the formulas that I use. I call them PAR, based on their past experience, accomplishments, and results. If you look at that and you look at skills that leaders should possess, you know, the integrity, the honesty, you know, trustworthiness, you know, do they have a vision for the country, and honesty and things like that. You look at all of those. That's what we've been preaching for people to look at that and vote based on that, not vote because of any tribal lines or because of any party affiliation or anything. Vote for the right person that is going to move the country forward. And I think people are seeing that. People are seeing that. That's why they are voting for the right people. You know, and based on all of those, you look at all those characteristics of a leader. Like I said, honesty. Who is honest? You know, you want to vote for someone that's honest. You want to vote for someone that has a vision for his country or that position. You want to vote for someone that is trustworthy. You want to vote for someone that has the integrity. Now, if we look at all of these candidates, look at the ones that won versus their opponents. If you look at them and you analyze and you think about true leadership, who is going to take us forward? What is their past experience? What have they done for us in the past? Or what have they done in the past? Even not for us, but what was their past experience, accomplishments, and results? If you think about that, you go to KMC, you're going to pick Bensouda, no doubt, you know, compared to the people that contested against him. You know, you go to Banjul, the same thing, Rohim Aleklo will be the winner there, you know. You go to Brikama, I mean, you look at all of those people, look at their integrity, look at their past experience, accomplishments, and results. Look at their leadership skills. Who are you going to vote for? Yankuba Dabo. So I think it's based on those that people are getting that message and not worried about the money. And of course, we've also, in all civic education platforms, everyone has been condemning buying votes. But we've all condemned, do not sell your voter's card, because if you sell your voter registration card, you're selling your voice. That means you have no choice. Even if we select a bad person, you had no choice to turning that around, because elections in Gambia are based on simple majority, not anything else. A simple majority. They beat you by one vote, they win. That's it. That's how the presidential election is. That's how all of this is. It's not about anything else but simple majority. So that one vote can make a big difference if there happen to be a tie. So I think people are realizing all of these and waking up, and they've also learned from the past. You know, you've got to think about the past. What have we done in the past that brought us to where we are today? You do not want to repeat that. So people are waking up to all of these, and it's helping Gambia and helping Gambians across the board to really understand who to vote for, not just because of anything else. Vote for the right candidate. We want progress. That's it. We want progress. Our country has been behind for a long time. We are 58 years old now, and we are 58 years behind time. So we have no more time to waste. We need to find the right candidates and vote for them so that they can start to move us in the right direction.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. So let me come to Sam, you know, you really hit it. Something changing in the Gambia where money is not really being effective. It's helpful, but it's not changing the trajectory of this election. So it's interesting that our guests really poke on that. But let's have to Yaya, and then we can have Bambara. Yaya, comment please.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum once again, Sawane and Sam Famara. So my own analysis will be, I think like Famara and Sam and Bakari have already stated, like Gambians actually vote against, like they don't vote for, but they voted against, at least this time around. Because you would realize that we've been seeing videos or audios or rumors, going on that people are giving money to, like, let's say candidates or a particular party is giving out money to people for them to vote for them. And if that was true, let's say in Banjul, they said NPP people went in and gave money to the people in Banjul for them to vote for them. If that was true, I'm not sure, but if that was true, but then actually now we've seen that UDP didn't do that according to what was saying. Like UDP didn't do anything like that, but NPP did. But now, how comes then UDP candidate won? So if that was the case, then we realize that people did not vote for, but they vote against. In the sense that even though they were given something for them to vote for them, still they had to vote against them. And that shows that people are actually waking up. If we were all sleeping, I think people are actually waking up, because that is not politics to me as well. You don't have to, I think for you to be able to get people's attention or something, like it has to come from yourself. You have to tell them something that will actually convince them, but not to go in actions to say, okay, I have to give them this and that so they can vote for me. I also, I'm not actually supporting UDP or NPP. I'm not sure where I belong to, although I actually have a political party that I am supporting. But then in this case, I'm saying that I am not supporting any particular party here. But I actually listened to Rahim Malik Law's interview, one of her interviews, that she was complaining that she was actually stressing on this to the journalist, that she was not going to give money to anybody. She was not going to provide vehicles for anybody. And somebody like all of us could say this, but then like looking at your position right now, you are looking for something. And now, but you're still trying to be honest to people, to tell them that, look, I am not giving you so and so. If you love me, or if you think I can do this and do that for you in terms of development and so, then you have to vote for me. But not actually to say, like, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. She did not say she was going to, she said it clearly. And then it was not even elections, that she could say, if I say this, probably people will not vote for me. But she was honest to say that I'm not giving vehicles, I'm not giving money. If you want to vote for me, if you think I can do the job, come out and vote for me. She said that before the elections, but then still she won. And then Bakari also talked about what the president said. And I think the press, these people, when they go out to actually campaign, they are expected, all of them are expected to talk about their agenda, what they can do for the people. But instead, some of the candidates actually were talking about their opponents, because I also listened to one of Bakari Baji's, I don't know, yeah, it was a campaign, I don't know where exactly. I listened to it on Facebook, and he was talking about what Talib did, and he was asking questions. He hasn't done anything, because not even a single market like he constructed, something like that. He talked about, he mentioned something like that. I actually can't remember right now. So I'm saying, like, if you go out to convince people to vote for you, I think as a candidate, you should be talking about your agenda. Sell your agenda, tell them so and so and so and so is what I can do. So maybe that part also, because people are waking up, they are not sleeping. So if someone like Sawane or have Sam, who is very well educated and aware, like, you come to me and started saying all of those things, and you'll be like, okay, I don't think he's the right person for me to cast my vote to, because he's not saying anything. He's rather talking about someone else, not actually selling your agenda and so on, So I think that that is one problem that actually haunted NPP candidates. That's my analysis one. And also, how will I say? Also, what the history, like Sam also mentioned, like we already know that Talib is the current mayor, and we have seen what he has done or what he is doing. Like he has been working, and Rahim Malik was also working. But example, I'm not saying Bakari isn't working also, but then looking at his history, being the Minister of Youth and Sports, there are so many queries, and people are really talking about this always that Bakari, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, are not working, like they are not doing anything for the country, because even the issue of stadium comes in question. Like people be like, even now the stadium is banned. There is no activities going on in there because it was supposed to be renovated and it put in. And then Bakari was there for 5 years. And Ibu Fai to fall under the same category because he was also working at the same place. So that history, and like I have been seeing this even on so many people's status and posts everywhere. People are saying like Gambia is hard. Everyone is complaining, and people are blaming the government for all of this. So unfortunately, or let's say if the incumbent didn't win, their candidates do not win these elections. I wasn't surprised, because everybody is actually frustrated and, yeah, they're kind of frustrated and tired of the system, and they wanted to change the system. Like, just like what happened in 2016. When you're tired of the system, actually you just want to eradicate it and then go on. So I think, yeah, that's what happened here.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah. I think you also added, some really good points on this discussion, and then we will pass onto Famara. And if you can reach out to Sonko again, I think he's off, but if you can briefly comment, because we probably will want to ask him a few more questions. But Famara, you can comment.
Yeah. His phone is off because he told me that he's away, so he's not even at home. So I connect, but then his phone is off. But I will still call back and see.
Yeah, okay. Famara. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawane. It's been a while. I'm at work right now, but still, I was able to join in today. So I think I'll be joining the afternoons this time around. So that would be great. But thank you guys for everything that you are doing. Like Sam said, our this weekly program sensitizing the citizens about their rights as citizens.
It's paying off. It's paying off.
Yeah, it's paying off because a lot of people are listening, and then people are being educated about a lot of issues in our country. And I think people also learn from 2021 elections what happened. All right, people are no longer opposition are no longer overconfident, sitting down and say we got majority this side, so let's sit down and just go cast our vote and go home. But we have seen a few days before the elections, people were awake. People are going door to door during the campaign period. They are engaging people. Making so their agenda is being sold out to people. So there have been a lot of sensitization. So that paid off a lot. And the oppositions were also not relaxing. They were not taking things for granted, that they have a stronghold in this area, or maybe IEC was not going to. And I think they have also mastered the strategies that MPP was doing the last few weeks, or the last year or so. So they have gone out to to fill that gap, make sure there is no gap here, that they can capitalize on, to do anything that, might come to their favor. So I think this is very good. But one thing I want to highlight is that I think the president's speech, like you mentioned, the last few days about threatening people, that was wrong. He did that wrong, actually, because we came out of dictatorship, and all the oppositions come together to fight dictatorship. So when they see any sign of, the incumbent trying to intimidate people, I think that was something that nobody wanted to take that lightly. And that's why even those who are not even running candidates for these elections are bold enough to come out and say, I'll quote Mr. Mama Kande for that, because he think that was completely wrong, even though I didn't hear other candidates, but Mama Kande definitely was able to do that. And then the good thing is now all the oppositions were able to align themselves with a candidate this time around. Of course, those with the alliance with the AP, NPP obviously are there, but the others that are not aligned with AP and NPP, but also were bold enough to say, I support this party, this candidate, not because he belongs to this particular party, but we believe that he can deliver, or he is better than the party presented by the incumbent. And again, GDC is one of them. I'm not sure whether PDOIS was able to align themselves with any party or not, any candidate or not. That is not a PDOIS candidate. But I've seen some of their key members or their supporters supporting individual candidates. So I think this is also good. Also see GMC backing the candidate in the URR, so those are all very good, things that I think everybody is so concerned about who is coming into power and what their, past history and experiences are. So I think this was a well, contested, mayoral and chairman election. I was scared at the beginning, especially the last few days, when I see confrontations on the street. Even the day before the election, I was saying, wow, this is the most nastiest. I will not say nastiest as much, but it's worrisome to see people exchanging blows, or even day before the elections. But that shows how everybody is concerned, that we are going to stamp out, corruption, buying our votes or going out to get people intimidated on the street. People are, bold enough to say that is going to stop. And even though people might accept money, and now we've seen the incumbent, they've spent a lot of millions on this, but still maybe people receive money, but still vote otherwise, because they know who is best. Because most of these mayorals have already served their 5 years term. We have already know what they've achieved compared to who they're standing with, just like Yaya said, I mean, if you want to compare Roy Malilok and Ibu Fai, and you look at their past experience, Ibu, we has a trouble in the management of stadium, and then we're still in that trouble. So if Lori Malilok was able to be the first female mayor in the country, and then was able to achieve some of the achievement she did, and also building collaboration with European Union, and now being the chairman or the president of Rafela, which also bring in some projects for women in Banjul. So at least he has something that, voters can look at and say, yes, this person has at least achieved something. I believe if we give me extra time, we are going to go far. And the new office that they are building, that's also historic, So compared to what Ibu is doing at the stadium, I mean, they cannot exchange the lady for the thing. And then Bensouda, obviously, Bakari have tried before when he was an independent, and he failed. And then being a sitting minister, that shows how desperate the incumbent was to get somebody to contest for with Bensouda, because Bakari is still holding that ministerial position. But they couldn't find anybody that can, contest this guy, until they had to go and unseat somebody who already hold a ministerial position to come and challenge. So that is something we have also seen is a sign of desperation. It's a sign of desperation. Obviously, I know. If I was Bakari, I would not go back to the Minister of Tourism youth this time around. I'll probably go back and another area. Because for the fact that now we need somebody with a fresh mind, because obviously we qualified to African Cup of Nations under his term, but I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done at the ministry that he did not complete. If he has done those ones, I'm sure he would have stand a good chance. So to stand with Bensouda, So, and those are some of the things. And look at the West Coast region. Sirifo, the MPP don't have trust in him that he was going to win, because obviously, and then with the GT, primaries with the CD there, of course, our own CD Cisse. I was in for CD anyway, for the fact that we all come from the same community, and I know how much he has done in our community as well. So I was thinking, obviously, if he comes in, obviously he's going to change something. I know Yanks, I have big respect for Yanks, and I know he was going to deliver, and he was there when the struggle was there, and he was there with the 3 years Jotna. But then, you know, like the saying goes, it's better with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Me and Sidi all, you know, come from the same community. I've seen what he have done before, and I think he could do something for West Coast if he was given the power, you know. But then, you know, the primaries with GT and then GT standing as an independent, you know, definitely reduces his chances, you know, of winning. And I've seen that, obviously. So I think so far so good. It's a balance of power. So let's see how it goes. I'm sure the president is not very happy right now. I am really pretty sure of that because he's invested a lot of money, and then he has also invested time to help campaign in the West Coast, Banjul, and you know, and then in KM. So obviously, this is a big issue, and we are seeing a lot of projects coming in, even at the level of the government. Like right now, World Bank have given a lot of money for Gambia government to do coastal infrastructural development. And I think the president was looking forward to this, to have an MPP mayor at KM that was going to implement this project in collaboration with the project that was coming in. That was going to be a big plus. But now my question is, Sawane, and this is to you and also Sam. Do you think with the prevailing situation right now, do you think the president will be bold enough and say, yes, I lose in KM and I'm ready to work with Talib to make sure that, you know, the government do what they're supposed to do, and then KM goes to the right thing? Do you think is going to be bold enough to work, or do you think, you know, we're going to see what has happened the last back and forth, and also the ongoing commission of inquiries going on between them, and then here and there you hear local government and land trying to interfere how the council manage, or maybe KMC is inaugurating a project and then fail to invite the office of the president, and then they take that as an issue. Do you think situation is going to calm down now, or do you think it's going to get worse? You know, like we have witnessed the last few years.
Yeah, thank you, Mfamara. Thank you for that. And then we have our guest here. I think we will allow our guest to answer that first, and then then we can maybe jump in, myself and Sam. But I have other questions as well awaiting. Bakari, would you be able to answer that one? Yeah.
Come again.
Did you hear his question?
The question, if Barrow would be willing to work with the elected mayors that are the opposition. I personally think Barrow has no choice. Whatever he wants to do, for example, in KMC by law, and there is little or no choice that Barrow has when it comes to that. And then also, you might also want be interested to know that Barrow will not also want to squander all his chances in 20. Suppose he wants to contest in 2026, because you cannot also want development and ignore the will of the people. And the will of the people is the ones that they have voted for. So as a leader, as the president of the country, he must also respect the will of the people, just like the way people respected the will of the people when they were voting for him, when they elected him re-elected him in 2021. So I think he has no choice, and absolutely, it's not to actually plead with Barrow to work with Talib. It's his responsibility to work with Talib, and his responsibility to work with Rahim Malik Low, likewise Yakuba Dabo in West Coast, and all other opposition candidates that won in all elections, be it local, national assembly. So I think that's what it takes in order to build a country. And I think it's important that when we are building or creating, when we are building a nation, for me right now, politics is over until the next cycle. Politics is every day. But in our context as a country, we must not allow partisan politics to jeopardize our development drive. Now that we are done with elections, all that needs to be done is to ensure that the government focus, President Barrow focuses on the development projects that he has, and work with the local government elections, because central government cannot function enough if they cannot collaborate with local government, and local government also cannot function enough if they cannot also collaborate with central government. So here is the thing: it is important that we work with people and we're able to create that sense of collaboration, even if our views are contrary to their views, because it's always important that we put the nation first. And for me, if you ask me, President Barrow has no choice. That is, it's not like we have to actually make him believe, make him feel like he has a choice of not working with Talib or any other candidate opposing to his. He has no choice. He has to work with them if development is what actually drives him.
Okay, thank you for that. So this is what I'm gonna look at in asking this question, Mr. Sanka, and this is to you. In the history of the Gambia, the first and second republic, there hasn't been any president who faced such a major resistance from the urban area. Okay, mostly rural area is really not a big deal, but the urban area, that's where most population, is most densely populated, and the populations are. Yeah. It become like a common thing now, and then in the life of this presidency, Barrow cannot still penetrate the zone. It's like a no-go area from the opposition. And what do you think this says about his presidency?
For me, if you like the urban area, it's supposedly where the enlightened masses are. It's where they are the public servants, based on our infrastructure and how development is in this country. If you look at there has not been that much decentralization of government institutions. So literally everyone that goes to school from the rural areas, or that goes to university here, goes to college in the Commonwealth, and at the end of the day settle here with their families. They only go to the rural areas if there are festive occasions or there are other occasions. So looking at that, those are the people that are enlightened. And looking at the structure of our urban area, you have the Banjul, Serekunda, Brikama, and so this is where everyone is settled. And the reason I believe that President Barrow cannot penetrate is that there has been so much enlightened about people, and especially with the recent scandal in President Barrow's government. Most of these scandals that are happening, it's making it very, very difficult for him. And making it very, very difficult for his people in order to penetrate the country, the urban area. And this has been a challenge. This has been a really big challenge for all of them. And
even with the most money, even with the amount of money they're ready to pump in, they couldn't still do it.
I think people are more focused on, like I said in my opinion, I'm not sure about how much they've pumped. I know, like we all know, politics is very, very expensive. And then especially in our part of the world, where you have to actually do beyond what you can even do as a politician, because we also have to provide for the people. And I think the fact that Gambians, a lot of us Gambians, are able to now look at issues, are now able to look at what it's better for us, and Gambians are now able to choose beyond the words of politicians, but also hold political parties or politicians to account. For example, now the Gambians are using the marble as an accountability check on politicians. And this has been one thing that I think it's changing the political dynamic. That if you're coming to and even if you look at the recent yesterday's election, you understand that the tribal dynamic would change. It's gonna take time, but it will change. The politicians tried to use it, but it did not work for them. And I'm sure that as we go, it's not gonna work for any of them. The fact that people are countering hate speech and are countering tribal bigotry. These are things that I personally would change. And we are definitely going to see at a point that if politicians are not able to tell us what they are going to do for us, they will not be listened to.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, perfect. So that being said, do you think some people also made an assumption that maybe the candidate that the MPP put against UDP was the issue? UDP seems to have better candidate, well seasoned, well articulated, like Yankuba compared to CD. Amadite, who they're supposed to pick, I mean, according to his claim that he won that what do you call it? That election that was done within the party, they didn't choose that one. They didn't go with that one. So the argument is that the potential or the candidates, the level of either their maturity or their education or their influence or their position could have contributed to this. But it's just not putting candidates that can win. Do you think that is the case, or is it that the UDP is just a stronghold and is a party, opposition party that really can go head to head with any party?
I think there is one thing that we need to give to UDP, that they are one of the most, should I say, they are the most organized political party in the political space. A political party that has been here since 1994, 1996, coming all the way, surviving dictatorship, surviving like a lot of things, and still now the party is structured and the party is able to use all democratic means in electing in presenting their candidates, even if they lose, and the fact that they are well organized. Coming back to what could be some of the reasons why President Barrow or the NPP are not able to move or maneuver UDP this time around, that could also be another reason. That in fact we've had allegations that a lot of people want to contest on the NPP, but and then the choice of the people are not presented to them, and so at some point people will more like vent their frustration by not voting for the candidates that is imposed on them. And I believe that when you also look at politics, when you also look at what are some of the some of the ill effects of imposing candidates on people, this is one of them too. But it's important that we're able to create that sense of responsibility, that sense of ownership amongst people. Give people who they want, then they will give you what you want. But if you cannot give people what they want, you don't expect them to give you what you want, because this is politics. And then people have would rather choose who they think is gonna be more beneficial to them than those that will not benefit them in any way. And in the case we've seen that NPP suffered something like that, and we have seen the way the trend is changing. Even in rural Gambia, during a lot of NPP candidates lost, or so I see some NPP candidates lost simply because they were imposed by the party on the people that are supposed to vote for them. These are allegations that a lot of people will say, and I think at some point it will make sense. But coming back to what is more important is like the quality of candidates also matters in these elections. That like I said, things are changing. The political spectrum is changing. You must present candidates that are outspoken, that can defend on their policies, and not only candidates that are just hell bent on the issue that we are vying for the majority for the ruling party, and that gives us an aid. I think that is fading away in the Gambia, and so long Gambians continue to live by this, I think our leaders will wake up and they will start delivering service as we want. But until we stop voting based on party line, we stop voting based on tribal lines, we will still be going round the circle of poverty, round the circle of corruption, mismanagement of public funds, etc., etc. So I think these are some of the areas that we and definitely these local council election, the local government election is an eye opener for a lot of politicians. So I think they should be at home now, or go back to the drawing board to look at themselves and see what we can do properly.
Thank you. I think this is the happiest moment in our politics. You mentioned two key areas here that is not working or may not work any longer for politicians. One, tribal, using tribal sentiment to win by dividing people while not selling your agenda. And secondly, using monetary goods of financial means to suppress people's vote. So since that is a trend that we've been seeing in these local government elections, I think Gambians now have hope that perhaps we're going to be seeing leaders that will be out there to do the work. Because if they don't do, they will not serve. They will be voted out. So I think that message, like you said, is a message that will be digested from now against the next election. And we will continue to produce and sensitize our people in this kind of shows around to make sure that people understand the importance of their votes and then what it's doing now. Because of this sensitization and people able to act upon it, I think, we are seeing the results, and then it's in the polls. And this is very good to our democracy. And another thing is, the marble, I keep telling people, and spot counting, I think that has been, a gift to the Gambian people. The reason why is because our Africans, they could manipulate elections. They could use power. They could do anything. They could buy, even the IEC and other folks. But because this is a spot counting, everybody has their agents standing there. There is no possible way they could turn the outcome of the results, because nobody's going to move. Everybody's going to be there, and the votes will be done, and it'll be counted. So I think Gambia is gifted. When Jammeh introduced this spot counting, I think that's the best thing he ever did for the country, because he could have let it stay the way it was. So with that note, I will ask Sam if he has anything finally to discuss on this topic, and of course, Yaya, and we can wrap it up, Mr. Sonko, for your time. Yeah. But do you agree? Do you agree with that statement, Mr. Sonko, that I just delivered? Before we move to Sam.
Yes, I did. The marble system is an amazing system, and not the sport counting system rather. It's for me it's a direct accountability mechanism that we don't have to go through a lot of hearsay, or everyone has someone to represent you there, and it is done within 10 minutes after voting. People are able to know who wins the votes.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah. So Sam, your final thought on about this, so we can wrap it up. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sonko. Thank you for your time. Like I said earlier, this is about leadership. It's about who we gonna put in power. People have woken up now. They want to choose the right person. This is what we've been preaching: choose the right person, not because of anything else. And I do want to, before I forget, I want to go to Famara's case. Famara's question: will the president be willing to work with the elected officials now on the new projects coming? In the past, we've seen that did not work very well. Banjul rehabilitation project started before anything going to Rohey Malik Low, and Rohey Malik Low had to go out and confront them on the street You know, I remember that. You know, I remember seeing that video. So that happened, and I think in KMC as well, they're working, and I think with this new project coming, I think the president is going to continue to do what he was doing in the past. So, but at the same time, I won't be surprised if he comes out, which will be the right thing, to come out and work with the current mayor, knowing that elections are over now. Bensouda is going to stay, so you might as well work with him and develop the country, because that's what Gambians are looking for, not looking for anything else, you know. So coming back to the on-the-spot counting that you said, I absolutely agree with that as well. It's the best thing is count on the spot, because it's very transparent. While you have all representatives and witnesses sitting there, there's nothing better than that. So I totally agree with that. That was something Jammeh initiated, and I think it's working very well. So yeah, well, to really wrap this up, I just want to say thanks to the guests, and thanks to Yaya for getting him on there as well. Yaya's comments as well was very, very good. Appreciate your time and your comment in this as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Your final words on this before we wrap it up.
Yes, I think you guys have said it all. Well, I think now we said Gambians, we've all realized that they are waking up. People are waking up, and I just pray this continues, because if anyone is not working, like there's this song that we sing when we go to the football field, the Kumunu Daragena, like if you cannot do something, let us just take you out. So even Talib and Rahim Malik not being re-elected, if they are not doing well, like if they didn't do any well again, then maybe next time they should be removed. So the same goes to the president. Even in the next presidential election, I think Gambians should just, they're actually waking up. For me, I like what I've seen, and I think that will actually continue. Yeah. So that's what I have. Yeah. And then Bakari, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us too. I'm not sure if you're still here, but
yeah, he just dropped out. Yeah, but yeah, so thank you, Yaya, for having him join us. And again, thank you, Sam. I think our viewers, we have to thank them. A lot of people have been following this show today, and then they will be being putting some comments saying that MPP is dead, and then Barrow must go and all that. But yeah, people can look at this election and see maybe it is a signal for the president that maybe he has to evaluate everything that he's doing in the country, because Gambians are ready. One thing I am the takeaway from this election is that Gambians are ready. They're ready to shape their own destiny. They're ready to be accountable. They're ready to fight corruption. They're ready to make sure their children will have better Gambia. So if any politician is out there, if you cannot stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you cannot stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you cannot deliver, don't waste your time. You have to come and know what you want to do and sell it to the people. No more tribal, politics, no more buying votes. Sell your agenda. People have common sense, and they will see what is feasible. And don't come and sell false agendas, because it's not applicable. It's not doable. People would have to know, and people have brain, just like you politicians, how you have brain. So Gambian people, watch out. It has changed. A very big signal. 3 elections. Yeah, the parliamentary election, the councillors election, now the mayoral and chairmanship election. People are picking candidates. They're not picking parties. They're not picking tribes. So watch out, watch out, watch out. And Gambia has changed, and I'm very happy to witness this change, because I thought I would never witness it because of the way things were. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, our viewers. Definitely.
Thank you.
All right.
all right. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
you all have a
All
good evening.
You too. Thank you.